Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with an announcement from Lloydminster RCMP. A new commander has been named, and on December 12th, Inspector Neil Pearson will assume charge of the detachment. Staff Sergeant Brent Sawatsky served as the interim commander after Inspector Suki Manj left the detachment in August. Sawatsky will continue in this role until Inspector Pearson starts. A slew of vehicle thefts in the area is prompting the RCMP to warn drivers about warming up their cars unattended in the morning.
If you need to let your vehicle warm up in the morning, as it is getting colder outside, your engine does require some time for you to let it warm up. You don't need to let it run for 5-10 minutes. Yeah, it's nice when you step inside of a vehicle for it to be nice and warm, but your engine doesn't need that. If you need to warm your car up on the side of the road, make sure that you try and lock it if you have 2 sets of keys.
Many of the thefts involved a vehicle left running with keys inside. Mounties are urging residents to lock their cars and garages to prevent these kinds of thefts.
We have had cases of this year. We had quite a few of them last year. We had a little campaign going on, Lock It or Lose It, where we were trying to encourage people to lock vehicles, not to leave them running anywhere. Even if you just have to run in for a short period of time, those vehicles can be stolen really quite easily.
The RCMP are also asking the public to report any suspicious activity they might see in their neighborhoods. Well, with winter in the air and holidays fast approaching, the Salvation Army has launched their annual Christmas Kettle campaign. They say with the tough economy, the public's support is needed now more than ever. Brian Lentz reports.
The Salvation Army hopes to raise $50,000 through the Kettle campaign, with donations going towards their many programs.
Mainly the food bank and the extra services that we offer through the food bank. So that could be bills that people can't pay, or it could be medications that people can't afford.
O'Doherty adds food bank supplies are low, while new families are asking for help every week.
We probably have just a fraction of the amount of food that we normally would have this time of year, but we're needing 2 or 3 times more than we have in the past.
Normally, by this time of year, this room is filled with food, and with the increased demand, it's putting a strain on resources. But Mayor Albers is confident the community will step up to help those in need.
Our community gives extensively, and they have big hearts, if I can use that term. I know people dig in every chance they get to help a charity. They help people in need.
The Salvation Army is looking for volunteers to operate the kettles that will be at grocery stores throughout Lloydminster until December 24th. They also say their message for people this holiday season is one of hope.
People knowing that their children will be fed at the end of the day, people knowing that they can face tomorrow without absolute despair, people knowing that there's somebody else out there that can walk this journey with them and they're not alone.
Brian Lentz, Newcap News.
Firefighters in the border city are gearing up to face the cold this weekend for the 4th annual rooftop campout. The department is staying up on the roof from Friday until Sunday, raising money and awareness for ALS research, a cause that hits close to home for the squad.
It means a lot to us. ALS has hurt our department personally. We lost one of our members back in 2013 to this terrible disease. The ALS Society of Alberta really helped him through that, and now it's our chance to give back to them.
The fire crew will be heading up to the roof tomorrow at 5 and will stay there until Sunday. Last year, the fire department raised $32,000 over the weekend, and there will be plenty of ways to donate to this year's cause.
You're going to see your local firefighters at a couple of our major grocers over the weekend, as well as Fire Station number 1 will be holding an open house all weekend long. So come on by, bring the kids, show them the truck, and drop some money in the boot, and the firefighters will hoist it onto the roof.
Along with the camp out, the fire department will be hosting a brunch at the Lloydminster Golf Course on Saturday from 9 until 11 a.m. Tickets can be purchased at any of the fire halls in Lloydminster. Well, having to squat down sounds basic enough as an exercise, but people take for granted just how essential it is for lower body workouts. In this week's Healthy Living, Josh Ryan explores some variations of squats and some reminders for maintaining proper form.
The squat is the most common basic movement associated with lower body exercise. It's also arguably the most practical and important.
Uses every extremity of the lower body in the exercise. It takes everything from the tip of your toes to up to your hips to get that exercise done. You don't need a machine, you don't need nothing fancy, you just need the simplest things and we can do a squat.
However, it's also an exercise that many people go into without having practiced proper technique. Jackie James says 2 common mistakes are failing to keep the spine straight and allowing your heels to come off the ground.
If you find that your heels want to pop up when you're squatting, chances are it's because your glutes are not engaging like they should be, and it's going to put a lot of extra stress on your knees that shouldn't be there.
People also start lifting heavier weights through barbells and machines earlier than they should.
Usually everybody sets a lot of weight on their shoulders or in their shoulder region, and you can hurt yourself big time, especially throwing out your hips or throwing out your back very easily.
A different variation for newcomers that James recommends is the sit-in stand, focusing on one leg at a time.
It's really practical for day-to-day life because every movement that we do as we walk, we're on one foot, then the next, so it's important to be strong on one leg as well as being strong on both.
An advancement from that is the hack squat machine, which Weinkauf says is a safer way to start adding a lot of weight.
You're in a machine and you don't have to worry about leaning forward or leaning back. All you have to do is push up and down.
And when you're using the barbell or free weights, James recommends having someone watch your form or have them record it.
Then you can watch your movement and you can critique yourself and you can find out where you could make improvements.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
Well, the Rustlers men's basketball team have 2 games left in the first half of their season. Making sure they secure both wins is the main goal, but that could be a challenge with injuries to key players. Bailey Nitty has more.
The boys are gearing up to play the Augustana Vikings this weekend, a team that is 4th in the standings, right behind the Rustlers.
We'd like to get 2 wins and be at the 8-4 and be solidified in that 3rd spot and hopefully be able to make a run for 1st or 2nd spot in the second half. But Augustana is a good team. They're right behind us, 1 game behind, and they could jump us.
With key players out of the lineup, it's made games and practices more challenging. The Rustlers are hoping for a healthy roster come 2nd semester.
Well, that's huge. Like it's even practicing is a little bit of a struggle with limited bodies, right? So keeping everything competitive has been a little tough. But once we get guys back, this team will be very scary. It's so much fun to play with.
The men's team is in 3rd place in the ACAC standings behind Concordia and Nate.
We got to have a solid record. We got to win basketball games. We got to take it one game at a time. Whether or not we make playoffs or we won't go to nationals or you win nationals, you got to take it 1 game at a time and just win basketball games. And that's our approach, I think.
For head coach Sheree Thomas, the game plan has stayed the same.
Go to provincials, win provincials, and try to go to nationals and win nationals. That's always the expectation. You always want to win. You know, like I said, I wouldn't have my players here if that wasn't an expectation. And, you know, I don't want to be a coach that's, you know, coming and playing for last place.
The Rustlers will play the Vikings back-to-back this weekend. Friday night they'll be in Camrose, but they will be back home on Saturday to play the last game of the first half of the season. Rustlers basketball will start up again on January 6th. Bailey Nitty, Newcap Sports.
Smartphone capabilities are making it easier for ag associations and producers to stay in touch, leaving you with the information literally in the palm of your hands. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow finds out how a new app is making this possible.
As soon as I heard about it, I thought it would be a good opportunity for beekeepers to get into that app.
Rod Scarlett is the head of the Canadian Honey Council based in Sherwood Park. He sees the new AgSmart app as the next level in faster communications with his membership.
So that when things like maximum residue levels for components in honey change internationally for exporters, I can post that right away and they will get notified to know what's going on. Or if CFIA changes an inspection protocol.
Ag associations' websites and social media can still be used, but the AgSmart Association app, or ASAP, can help agricultural associations engage members and save time and money literally in a hands-on way. Andrew Herrella with the Canadian Agricultural Human Resource Council says there are certain advantages to placing ag information on a mobile platform, since many producers access their association websites from a smartphone, but those websites may not be configured for mobile devices.
Each association gets its own custom app, so we call that minting. So in our case, we have the Canadian Honey Council will have a version of the application. The Canadian Young Farmers Forum is another association.
The new app will allow ag associations more streamlined communication with their membership. It allows associations to solicit new members, and members can connect and make posts to other social media.
If one of the associations, you mentioned the cattlemen, if they wanted to do a marketing campaign or an advocacy campaign with their grassroots members and have them tweet out messages, they could prompt their members to do that on the phone.
The app is free to download with the cost borne by associations, as it's essentially an extension of their websites.
The way technology is today, there are so many different forms of communication, and I think associations have to take advantage of as many forms as possible.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
Well, the end of semester 1 is also the halfway point of Lakeland College's basketball season. Sitting at 6-4, the Lakeland women aren't where they want to be, but there's reason for optimism. Lance Phillips has more.
For the Rustlers women's basketball team, maintaining consistency has been problematic at times. Even with some top-flight talent, the team's aware of what's been hampering them over the first half of the season.
We need to play better team ball in the offensive end. We need to be able to score it. Lots of teams have been able to key on Mana or Nike and kind of say, we don't think the rest can score. So we're working on our secondary scoring roles.
It's frustrating how a lot of teams just, they scout and they play box in one. So that's tiring as well. So we talk to the team a lot, we watch film, and we're going to fix it and finish off better than what we started with.
With the final 2 games of the first semester looming this weekend, a sense of urgency has been placed on earning 2 wins before the break to solidify 3rd in the ACAC North.
It really sets us up for second semester and getting a strong position going into the finals and everything, which we'd rather be playing a second or third ranked team than a first ranked. So it'd be easier transition in the finals.
It's really important. We just got to take a game at a time and not worry about playoffs right now, not worry about the national championship. We just got to win every quarter, one by one.
And of course, optimism is high.
We're going to get exponentially better every weekend out, whereas a lot of the older teams, if you look at Nate and Lethbridge, a ton of fifth-year kids, they are who they are. They're not going to change a lot, where we're already seeing players develop in the first semester, and I think it's going to continue in the second semester.
Lance Phillips, Newcap Sports.